Welcome to the first episode of the 33rd season of Offsides, BUTV's only professional sports talk show. I'm Eric Pepe.
And I'm Tyler Johnson. To kick off our season premiere, Dinh-Price and Sasha Abrams will give us their early takeaways from the NFL season.
Then, Brooke Alessi will host an exciting Shotclock between DeMatteo and Bruni to discuss their MLB Postseason outlooks.
And finally, analyst Allison DeWitt will fill us in on the ongoing women's soccer team's controversy in Spain.
All this and more, Offside starts right now.
Now that we're a few weeks into the NFL season, we can start to make some evaluations. I'm Dinh-Price, joined by Sasha Abrams, to discuss this season's early storylines. Sasha, start us off. Which team has stood out to you for their particularly poor start?
The New England Patriots started their season 1-2 with their first win coming over the Jets 15-10. That's now 15 wins in a row for the Patriots against the Jets, which doesn't give Bill Belichick and his defense much credit as their only win of the season so far. However, both their losses were against strong competitors and were hard-fought games till the very end, with the Patriots losing to the Eagles 25-20 and the Dolphins 24-17. The AFC East has one of the toughest divisions in the league, so it's no surprise Belichick has a lot of ground to cover with a tough schedule ahead.
You're right. The Patriots have looked a little rocky. For me, the most surprising team to start 0-2 has to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, who just earned the largest contract in NFL history with a 5-year, $275 million deal, has struggled mightily to start the season. The Bengals lost in embarrassing fashion in Week 1, falling 24-3 against their division rival Cleveland Browns. Burrow had a career-low 82 passing yards and completed less than half of his passes in the loss. In Week 2, the Bengals were defeated by a division rival once again, losing 27-24 against the Baltimore Ravens. The only Bengals first-half touchdown came on a punt return. Cincinnati's first offensive touchdown of the season was not scored until late in the third quarter of their Week 2 game. And while the Bengals also started 0-2 last year, this season feels a little bit different. Despite having Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon, this offense looks abysmal to start the season. Burrow is dealing with a calf injury that is lingering from when he sustained it during training camp, which can explain some of their struggles, but if he can't get back to full health soon, we could see the Bengals' struggles continue. While I have some faith in this Bengals team, I would not pick them to win in the AFC North over the Ravens. And I'm sure losing out on the division would be a disappointment for Cincinnati after claiming it the past 2 seasons. Sasha, what has disappointed you most from the season so far?
One of the saddest stories in the early season happened within the first 4 minutes of Aaron Rodgers' debut with the New York Jets, when he suffered a torn Achilles after being sacked by veteran pass rusher Leonard Floyd on a 1st and 10. Rodgers has already undergone Achilles repair surgery, which is typically season-ending, but in a nod to Kevin Garnett, Rodgers came out and said anything is possible, hinting that he's going to work hard to return this season. On Pat McAfee's Game Day broadcast, Rodgers said, "Give me your doubts, give me your prognostications, and watch what I do." With Zach Wilson now leading the team in place of Rodgers, the Jets were able to pull out a win against the Bills in Week 1, 22-16, after Rodgers exited the game, but have been 0-2 since then.
Yeah, speaking of the New York Jets, I'd like to talk about the team who beat them easily in Week 2, the Dallas Cowboys. From what we've seen so far, the Cowboys' defense has looked like the best in the NFL. Through Dallas's first 2 games, the Cowboys has allowed just 10 points and forced 7 turnovers. I mean, that is insane. I'm not sure what New York City did to deserve these beatdowns from Dallas, but the Giants and Jets are still recovering from their blowout losses. I was excited to watch the Cowboys and Giants in Week 1, expecting a competitive game from 2 teams that both made the divisional round of the playoffs last season. Instead, we were all served with a 40-0 beatdown at MetLife Stadium as the Giants' home crowd watched in horror. Week 2 for Dallas provided an unsurprising result as they defeated the Zach Wilson-led Jets. The Cowboys were a nightmare matchup for Wilson, the former number 2 overall pick, as he finished 12 for 27 passing with 170 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. The Cowboys only allowed 12 total first downs, and they stopped the Jets on 3rd down 9 out of 10 times. Dallas had possession for 42 minutes in this game and ran 83 total plays compared to the Jets' 46. It was an absolute beatdown, and the Jets are lucky they only lost by 20.
The only team in the NFL who might look better than Dallas right now is the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is undefeated to start the year and has scored 30 points in each of their first 3 games. This team looks unstoppable at times, as they arguably have the best offense and defense in the NFL. Running back Christian McCaffrey has been an especially huge piece for San Francisco, now scoring a touchdown in 12 straight games. This 12-game stretch matches legendary 49ers wide receiver Jerry Rice's franchise record and is just 3 games shy of the NFL record. After trading for McCaffrey last season, the 49ers have gone 13-1 in the regular season, with their lone loss coming against the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, just 3 days after acquiring the All-Pro talent.
Yeah, after a disappointing end to last season, losing Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game, this 49ers team looks hungry to start the year. Their 30-7 victory in Week 1 over the Pittsburgh Steelers was pure domination. The Steelers did not earn a single first down across their first 5 drives, and on the other side of the ball, San Francisco scored on their first 4, cashing in 2 Brandon Ayuk touchdowns and 2 Jake Moody field goals to go up 20-0 midway through the second quarter. At one point, the graphics at the bottom of the screen compared the total yards for each team. The 49ers had 199, the Steelers had just 1. While Week 2 and Week 3 were a little bit closer, the 49ers winning 30-23 against the Rams and 30-12 against the New York Giants just 4 days later, San Francisco still looked very impressive. San Francisco's Week 2 win in Los Angeles marked their 9th straight regular season win against their division rival Rams. Second half adjustments forced 2 interceptions by Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford and allowed the 49ers to get some breathing room in the fourth quarter. And in Week 3, the 49ers win over the Giants just never felt all that close. The 49ers tripled the Giants in yardage almost and doubled up New York in time of possession.
I had an eye on their offense as well. The 49ers were getting blitzed constantly. While their blitz rate did lead to explosive plays for the 49ers, it also led to multiple uncharacteristic and ill-advised throws from Purdy in the first half, who was lucky to avoid an interception. However, Purdy found his footing after halftime and allowed the 49ers to pull away late. His 310-yard night was capped off by a beautiful touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel in the fourth quarter to put the Niners up by 18. We've seen some great football so far this season with some disappointment along the way. I can't wait to see how the rest of this season plays out. Now, Brooke, Raph, and Charlie take it away with some MLB postseason predictions.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 2023 Offsides MLB Postseason Shotclock. I'm your host Brooke Alessi, joined by Charlie DeMatteo and Bruni, who are ready to put their MLB takes to the test. Charlie and Raph, I'll ask you both a series of questions and you'll each have 25 seconds per question. I'll award a point to whoever presents the better argument. At the end of the 5 rounds, the winner will be declared. Let's get started. Question 1. Who is your World Series pick?
My World Series pick is the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies really chose the right time to get hot. Even though the Braves already clinched the division, I feel like the most important thing in the playoffs is who heats up at the right time. Especially after they lost in the World Series last season, Philly has a chip on its shoulder. I believe Bryce Harper will be incredible as always. Also, the Phillies have finally bolstered up their bullpen. I predict the rematch of last year's World Series, Phillies versus Astros, but this time the Phillies will come out on top.
It's pretty simple. If the Atlanta Braves don't win the World Series, it will be the biggest postseason letdown of the last decade. This lineup is stacked 1 through 9. Ronald Acuna is the most valuable player in the league, and he isn't even the most productive player on his team. Matt Olson and Austin Riley are genuine superstars, and we haven't even gotten to Ozzie Albies yet. A healthy Max Fried and Spencer Strider is as good a duo in the league, and if all goes to plan, they will cruise to the World Series title.
I need to go with Charlie for this one. The Braves lineup is stacked. I definitely agree. If they don't win, it will be a huge letdown. Moving on to question 2. There's been some chatter around the Texas Rangers and their trade deadline strategy. Did the Rangers make a mistake here?
I know a lot of people are criticizing the Rangers for their mistakes, supposed mistakes in the trade deadline, but I disagree. People are focusing on Max Scherzer, especially now that he's out for the remainder of the regular season and almost surely the postseason, if the Rangers do make it, due to injury. But the Rangers made some good additions. Jordan Montgomery is a solid pitcher who adds a lot to the rotation. And Chris Stratton is a decent reliever who I think the Rangers can count on in the bullpen. Those 2 additions help give Texas that extra boost.
I disagree. Without a shadow of a doubt, the Texas Rangers made a mess of their trade deadline. Anyone who's been watching Max Scherzer since last September could have seen he has quite literally lost his fastball and was a liability in big spots. Jordan Montgomery was a nice idea, but is he really going to be the difference in an ALCS game? Not to mention Aroldis Chapman. If he's your guy in 2023 to slam the door on a game, you have got big problems.
I agree with Raph here. I take my chances even with an old Mad Max for a playoff run. He's been dominant in the past, and it's unfortunate that he got injured. For question 3, let's look at the standings. Who poses the biggest threat to the Braves in the top spot?
I know the Dodgers have had an amazing regular season. Mookie Betts has been having a one-of-a-kind year, and the Dodgers have been winning games like it's nothing. But year after year of coming up just short in the playoffs, I can't say that I have faith in these Dodgers. I got all of my money on the scrappy, hungry Phillies team. Especially against their hated division rivals, the Braves, the Phillies would win in a head-to-head playoff matchup.
While I respect the Phillies lineup in October, I find it hard to believe their starting rotation and bullpen can deal with the Braves lineup. The Dodgers are made for the postseason with their starting depth and bullpen pieces. Every year, they seem to work their magic touch on underperforming relievers, and this year is no different. Just take Ryan Brazier, for example, struggling mightily in Boston and is now an elite late-inning guy. You need them in the playoffs. The Dodgers have them, the Phillies don't.
I'm going to have to go with Charlie's. The Phillies pitching cannot stop the Braves. We're going to get specific for question 4. Were the Red Sox right to fire Chaim Bloom when they did?
Let's be frank here. Chaim Bloom's tenure at the Red Sox was a train wreck. The Red Sox absolutely made the right decision by firing him. The Red Sox are currently a team without any direction, and they have to regain their identity. Bloom's 4-year tenure was disastrous decision after disastrous decision. Bloom traded Mookie Betts and got nothing in return. Instead of developing young pitchers, Bloom turned the Red Sox starting rotation into a retirement home by signing washed-up veterans like Corey Kluber and James Paxton. Bloom's firing was a long time coming, and I can't wait to see the Red Sox future without him.
I'm by no means Chaim Bloom's biggest fan, but this was a joke of a decision by the Red Sox. You gave Bloom the impossible task of slashing payroll to get under the luxury tax while also rebuilding the farm system and still expect him to win? That's crazy. Now that he has rebuilt the farm system with the likes of Kyle Thielen and Marcelo Meyer, and you have money to spend, you let him go? It makes no sense to me, and I feel like Chaim deserved this last offseason to go make his mark in the free agency. Now, the Red Sox are in total limbo.
I'm going to give it to Raph. I agree the Red Sox put Bloom in a tough position by trading Mookie Betts, but they need to do better on the return when trading a superstar like Betts. We're all tied up now. Whoever wins this point wins the game. For the last question, which wildcard team has the best chance to make it to the World Series?
Well, I've already raved enough about the Phillies winning the World Series, so I'm going to throw in an American League team that I feel like can pose a serious threat in the playoffs, the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto has assembled a decent team that has young, hot talent like Vladdy Guerrero, Bo Bichette, and Alejandro Kirk. But they also have veteran leadership with guys like George Springer and Matt Chapman. They also have a solid pitching rotation that is vital once the playoffs roll around. Hyun-Jin Ryu, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, all very good pitchers. Toronto might turn a few heads during the postseason.
For me, it's the Seattle Mariners. If you want to make a run in October, you have to have starting pitching, and the Mariners have 3 legit guys who can just shut down a lineup in Castillo, Gilbert, and Kirby. On top of that, they have been the hottest team in baseball for months now, and that momentum can be a dangerous thing in the postseason. Julio Rodriguez is a bona fide superstar and has the capability to produce in the clutch, and while last year may have been a year too early for Seattle, I can see them making a run this time around.
You both make a good argument, but I need to go with Raph on this one. Just this month, Toronto has had 3 winning streaks of at least 3 games. I think they have proved worthiness to make it to the World Series. Congratulations, Raph. That's all we have for you on Offsides MLB Shotclock. We'll throw it on over to Allison to cover the situation with the women's soccer team in Spain.
Thanks, Brooke. 1 month after their historic World Cup win, the Spanish women's national team continues to be shrouded in controversy. The story starts 1 year ago, when 15 players on the national team sent identical letters to the Spanish Football Federation, addressing a lack of professionalism, which was taking a toll on all of the players' mental health. They asked for a clear commitment to improving working conditions within the federation. According to The Athletic, the complaints include inefficient and lengthy travel methods, issues with coaches asking players to keep their hotel rooms open until midnight, and random bag checks by the coaching staff. The federation did not take these complaints seriously, instead insisting that the players apologize in order to be let back on the team. The protesting players missed several international friendlies before rejoining the team. 8 players returned with hopes of making the World Cup roster, and 3 were selected. Despite all this controversy, Spain triumphed over England to win the Women's World Cup, but unfortunately, things only got worse from there. As the team was receiving their gold medals, Federation President Luis Rubiales forcibly kissed player Jenny Hermoso on the lips. There were immediate calls for Rubiales to resign from many prominent politicians and athletes, including U.S. soccer star Megan Rapinoe. In an effort to save face, the Federation released a statement on Hermoso's behalf, claiming the forced kiss from Rubiales was a, quote, mutual gesture. The Federation asked Hermoso to be in an apology video, which she declined. Next up in this sequence of extremely disturbing events, the Federation called for an emergency meeting where Rubiales was expected to resign. However, he instead got up and offered Coach Vilda, who was complacent in the matter, a 4-year contract extension, and in the same breath, stated he was the victim of a witch hunt and called this a moment of false feminism. FIFA stepped in at the end of August, suspending Rubiales for 90 days pending an investigation. Rubiales was also ordered to refrain from contacting any member of the team. On September 10th, Rubiales stepped down and announced his resignation from both his position at the Federation and his position as Vice President of UEFA through a post on X, saying, "I will defend my honorability, I will defend my innocence. I have faith in the future, I have faith in the truth. Thank you all." Hermoso released a statement on social media saying that she felt vulnerable and disrespected. Following 7 hours of meetings involving players, Federation officials, the National Sports Council, and the Women's Players Union, the Football Federation has promised to make immediate and profound changes, starting with the structure of their top management. The players then issued a statement to say they would make the best decision for their health and futures once they study the full legal implications of rejoining the team. No word yet on whether or not Rubiales will face criminal charges. Eric and Tyler, back to you.
Thanks, Allison. That's all we have for this episode of Offsides. If you are interested in joining our team, please email us at offsides@butv10.com.
Also, be sure to like our Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Offsides10.
On behalf of our entire cast and crew, thanks for watching and have a great night.